Welcome to the Author Next Door,
where we talk writing, publishing, and the business behind the books.
This podcast is for writers who are a few steps ahead into the journey. Maybe you've published, maybe you're planning what's next, and you realize the questions aren't getting easier. They're just getting more interesting.
Sometimes it's just our fabulous selves. Sometimes we bring friends to the table, but it's always lived experience and information you can use.
So pull up a chair. The conversation starts now. Welcome to episode 73. I'm Cassie Newell, and I'm here with my co-host, Angela Haas. And this month, we're talking all about community, networking, conferences, reader relationships, and finding your people as an author. Today, we're tackling a question that becomes more important the longer you're in the business. What's the difference between having an audience and building a community? It's easy to get caught up in follower counts, likes, algorithms, and reach. But as authors, those numbers don't always translate into readers, relationships, or a sustainable career. So today we're talking about what community actually looks like and how it helps your author business grow and how to build it without feeling like you have to spend every waking hour online. So the lead-in question, what's the difference between an audience and a community? What are your thoughts on that?
I think an audience can change. A community is something built around you, like a cushion, like just that cozy, soft blanket of support that can be readers, but it can be other authors. And it's there for you. Or an audience can be whoever is online at the time. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're truly posting with social media, your audience is whoever catches your reel. I think we target things to be to a specific audience. Obviously, you're making romance content for social media. There is an audience for that. But sometimes we don't always know who's out there. Whereas the community, you get to know, you build that relationship. Do you really feel like you have a relationship with your audience?
A
Probably not.
transactional relationship. So how
Right.
I like to think of it as, just because in the near future I'm going to a comedy thing. So when I was thinking about this question, I was like, okay, I'm an audience member. I
Mhm.
like their comedy, just like actors and different storytellers and things like that. I will buy their book. I'm their part of their audience, right? But I'm not necessarily a member of their community until I am, because I want
Mhm.
more. I want more interaction, or I want to be a part of it and say I was a part of it, whether that's in a Kickstarter or something else, or they have a Patreon, an online presence. Same thing with concerts, right? Like you're
Mhm.
participating because you're being entertained and you're a part of that audience. I think they're two separate, very separate things. I think that there are varying levels of community, but an audience is transactional.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I
Exactly.
think I also think of that sometimes that authors chase the wrong things in my experience. And I learned a lot of this from Jen DePaula, which we had on, I think,
Mhm.
in season 1. She's so great. If you want help with your marketing and things like that, I think she puts you really in the right mindset, because a lot of times authors chase the visibility instead of connection. And in the very beginning of your author career, you really need to be chasing connection and
Mhm.
relationships. The transactional piece will come later. But when you
Right.
want that buzz and people who feel like they're contributing via your reviews and your ARC teams and really getting in the ground running with you as you're growing, that is a community. That's not completely transactional. So I think sometimes we feel like followers are progress. And I love when Jen said to me one time, I was like, okay, I'm starting out this new thing and I'm having to start over. And I have like, I don't know, I think my newsletter had a dozen people in it and
Right.
mostly my friends. And she was
Mhm.
like, yes, but that's 12 people that are going to interact with you versus somebody who has 100 and nobody interacts with them versus somebody who
Mhm.
has 10,000 and maybe only 75 people interact with them. So as I grew, I was like looking at the one metric I really love looking at is your percent of openers in your email. When you have numbers that are like in the 40%, 30 to 40%, I'm being told that's unheard of. And I was like, really? Because I'm thinking that's a little low. I mean, that's not 80% in my mind, but that's actually really high. That's good interactions. The average is 20. So I think sometimes we let these metrics of likes and hearts kind of get in the way of really what those connections are. And I feel like a newsletter is really the aspect of building your community. It'll start with an audience for sure. But at some point that grows and builds where you're getting emails back and more communicative aspects about things. And I just feel like in this day and age, relationships are kind of harder to quantify too, but we try to. And I think that's a mistake in my mind. So I'm just kind of curious in talking about social media. What are your thoughts around chasing that or being a part of it as a result of audience versus community?
I just wish we didn't take the social out of it.
Mm,
It used to be in the beta days of social media, it actually was social. We got to interact with people we didn't know and our friends, and now it's reels and ads and content that's curated for you. And so I think when we do get that like and that heart, the dopamine hit from that is even bigger. And I think that sometimes we chase going viral. When we make a post, we sit there and we're like, keep checking back to see how many people have interacted with it. But
yeah.
there's so many I've studied this as far as like, why is this so addictive to us? Because there is some science here. And I think even as an author, when we're trying to find validation everywhere, we're chasing that dopamine hit so much more instead of focusing on making those connections, like you were saying. But there's all kinds of articles, but one is from the Stanford, and getting those likes and comments and shares, it's so much dopamine in our brain. It's the equivalent of meth or alcohol. It is just that rush. And I think we don't even know it's happening because we're so ingrained in those environments, but it triggers that dopamine reward that we are striving for. And especially if you do have more of a viral moment, if something you post really does take off, then you're even chasing to have that every time. And it's not going to be that way because maybe a lot of you understand this, but some people don't truly understand that whatever you post is only organically going to be seen. It used to be 10%, now it's down to 3 to 5% of the people who actually follow you. And an interesting exercise is to go into your Meta business suite if you have Facebook and Instagram and really look at the demographics as far as where are my followers? Where are they from? And some of them are bots. Some
Yeah.
of them are not real accounts. Some of them are just spam things. I got 4 follows the other day and none of them were real accounts. And it's this constant feeling like we're making progress and then getting deflated when the next post doesn't hit. But it's all just that reward in our brain where we just feel so validated every time someone likes something.
But it's also that conversion because I mean, I'm guilty of this too. I'm like, why did this video get 800 people
Mhm.
and I do the exact same video and it gets under 100? Like, there's no rhyme or reason sometimes. But then I sit back and go, that didn't actually equate to any sales metric, any new, increase in my newsletter. Like, why am I spending so much time on this? I've started to really hone in on that and take a little lesson from you. Where is my joy in the social media that I do enjoy? And maybe I just kind of stick to that a little bit more.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and see if there's a purpose for me there. There's always this aspect too. I like to say, build your community first, your audience will come later because your community, they tend to be on the same platforms and they
Mhm.
can help lift you up when certain things are kicking off or launching, and you can rally them to help you, which is really nice when it works out that way. I mean, you can't always like depend on that, for sure, because people are busy, but that's what you want to try to develop as you have art teams or street teams or whatever you want to call them as you're launching things. But I just, I just kind of go, there's a lot of authors who aren't on social media at all. They're
Mhm.
doing just fine.
Right.
They use advertising, that's where they spend their money and do a lot of things, and interestingly enough, I am testing something, and I started testing it in May for the pre-order of Embers of Fate. So, I'm gonna give some real numbers. They're not big numbers, so I'm not gonna glorify anything, but outside of my young adult fantasy, I have not had high pre-orders at all. Like, sometimes I'll have 5, and I can tell you one of them's Angela, one of them's probably my sister, my best friend, like, I know who
Do
they
it.
are. Like, one time Angela was like, "Oh, I pre-ordered your book," and I was like, "Oh, you were the one." I wasn't joking, like, they're low numbers. The highest I'd ever had was, Holiday Hearts Unwrapped at 17. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I started doing Facebook ads with a lady who's focused on that for my pre-launch for the series, and I've more than doubled it. I went
Yeah,
into
with Amy.
KDP. Huh?
With Amy? Was this with
Yeah.
Amy from
Mhm.
Abundantly Social? She was our
Yes.
guest before.
Mhm.
Yes. Mhm.
And I went into KDP and I was like, "Wait, hey, Butch. Oh my God." That's my husband. I was like, "Oh my God, you're not gonna believe this. This is amazing. I've never done this like ever, like this high. This is a fabulous." Now, granted, I'm spending some coin to get there, but I also
Mhm.
feel like that share of voice, it's really hard to get people to pre-order, especially if they don't know you, unless there's a really good hook, right?
Yeah.
What will they get out of it? And I'm doing a lot of different marketing tactics around this. I've kept my social media. Have I upped it? Not a whole lot. I'm trying to hone in on better marketing, but really it's my community that's raising it too. So I do think there's something to be said for that, building
Yeah.
community first,
Right.
because you have
And
to
I wanna
remember, like, as yourself,
Mhm.
like, if you see a brand new author and you're interested in their book, there's some research that says you have to see it so many times before you actually hit buy, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, yeah, I start thinking about that. Yeah, social media has its place, but it's not necessarily transactional to a sale. And that's one of
Right.
the things I think that's really important. Yeah.
Right. And going back to what you said about it not being joyful for some people. Some people do not find joy in it. And it's not even that I find joy in it. I find it sort of a necessary evil. It's a directory for me at this point. I just have a
Yeah.
footprint. It doesn't mean that I'm posting every day or all the time, but I feel like I'm using it more as when I want to get into a bookstore, I want them to see that I have a footprint online. And it's a selling point to me that I can say, hey, I will tag you if I'm in this location and show that, this is my new location. So it's more of a promotional thing. It's nothing where I'm getting a ton out of it right now. Also, I think when I have more books out, there'll be more to market. And so that's why I'm going back to get these books out. But there's so much psychology behind why sometimes social media just makes us feel icky. Do you ever feel like you doom scrolling and you're like, ugh,
I've screwed up my algorithm because it's like all over the place of
right,
stuff, you
exactly,
know?
exactly.
And it probably when I post doesn't really know what to do with things sometimes, but I'm kind of
Yeah.
at this point where I'm like, I don't care.
Right. Well,
But
there's
yeah.
something that is called the slot machine effect. And I actually equate being on social media to being in a casino in Vegas, where there's no clocks and there's no windows, and they want you to feel trapped in there in a way so that time kind of stops and you
Yeah.
just sort of lose yourself
You're
at the
feeding the
table.
machine.
You're feeding the machine. And that's exactly what we're doing every time we're online. And so, because social media uses this unpredictable reward system, it can't reward you every time you post, right? Because then everything's easy. And then you might
Mm,
get bored or not keep at it. And everyone would go viral every time. It has to be unpredictable because that makes it when you do get an unpredictable number of likes on a post, that makes it even more exciting. It's just like a slot machine. When we win,
yeah,
you get a payout and then you think, I'm going to keep going on this machine. I want that win again. And so you keep putting coins in. Actually, my tactic in Vegas slide bar is the second you win a slot machine, change machines because that's how I won big. Because I kept or I'd see when
moving
someone
around.
else paid out on one machine, I'd avoid it because I go to a fresh machine and then it kind of resets that algorithm. But it's the same. It's that social media wants to keep you trapped in there so that you constantly are chasing something. You're
Yeah,
chasing the payout and you're chasing something that's actually not ever going to really give it to you unless
yeah,
you're maybe if you're a movie star with 2 million followers. I think once you reach a certain stratosphere on social media, yes,
sure.
there's a payout almost all times. But I even see it on threads, people with huge follower counts and their posts for the most part, every time they're posting, they're getting, someone I saw had 26,000 likes or like followers. And every post, it's like 20, 30 likes and then
Yeah,
every now and then it'll hit, but then it goes back down to 4,
yeah.
10. It's not
I see that with a
ever
lot of
gonna be the same.
influencers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. One of the influencers' posts has 50,000 and the next has 8, and those are still huge numbers, but it's gonna fluctuate no matter who you
yeah,
are. So really take that time to evaluate, like, am I chasing likes for this dopamine hit for this validation?
yeah,
Or, like you said, taking the time to really know where your time and money is going so you can get that conversion,
yeah.
right?
So let's talk about this a little bit more. So, in doing this, it causes a lot of burnout. I mean, we know so many authors that get burnt out on social media,
hmm
right? So, is there something you've stopped doing in your author business that actually gave you more energy and better results?
I think I stopped feeling like if I'm not marketing, I'm not being successful. And I
Good.
really had to have this heart to heart with myself that I'm not spending money on things until I get more books out. I really wanted to do an audiobook on No Climb Too High, and I'm not going to do it yet because I would like to finish the series. I would like to finish the Scottsdale series. I want to get more books out and have those selling. Then I'll get data on, okay, this one's doing really well, this one not so much. And that way, for a full length novel, I didn't invest time and money doing the audiobook as well yet. I just had to have this heart to heart. Like, I keep thinking I've got to do this marketing thing and this class and get this and be out here with this. And it's none of this is going to matter if I don't get more books out. And so I really dialed back my social media in a way. I'm still posting, I'm still, again, having that presence. I'm not doing my newsletter right now because it's going to, another thing that's going to take me out. And I'm trying to figure out, I switched from ConvertKit. This is a whole other discussion because it was too expensive and it was too much. But I realized I had a lot of old email addresses that had subscribed to the sci-fi newsletter and I'm writing romance. So I kind of had to let those subscribers go for now because I hadn't segmented them. But I just like all of this stuff takes me out of writing and it's just not
Yeah.
going to matter until I get more books out.
So I did something a little opposite of what you're saying, just to give a different perspective.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
I leaned into my newsletter. So
hmm
with me, you're going to hear from me about twice a month and maybe a little more when things are really happening. And I decided I wanted to have my newsletter subscribers or my reader list have an experience with me, something they wouldn't get on social media. So they get things ahead of time. They get opportunities to win things. They get opportunities to name things. So I have automations to really make people feel special and welcome, that this is, our space together. And I've seen over the last 9 months how I get readily people emailing me back. And I love it because at the end of the newsletter, and I learned this from another author, hey, email me back. Just hit reply. I want to hear from you. And people do it. And I love it. And I answer every single one. So, yeah, I just love that. It gives me so much more energy. And like recently, because it's June and my ARC team is finishing up, like they're just emailing me directly like, "Oh my god, I love this meet cute. Oh my god, she is the best character you've written. It's so hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. Laugh out loud." Da, da, da. Like all the things. And it feeds me because I'm hearing from my readers,
Right.
directly, and I'm not having to scan through reviews that are
Yeah.
variable between
Mhm.
like 5 stars and 1 stars, like I don't know. I think a newsletter creates something deeper. And I do feel that consistency over time with your newsletter is also very community building. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep my consistency over volume for social media. That's just going to keep going because I'm finding out more about book cons and new bookstores popping up, things like that. It's a little bit more news oriented for me and me trying to, find other readers out there that I haven't touched yet. But for me, the newsletter is the gold for me now. You can talk about what you're writing and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this one town name and give multiple choices. Hey, I'm thinking of naming my new title this. Here's some multiple choices. I love reader feedback. That's how I named in Keep It Sweet Conspiracy. I knew I wanted like a Valentine name. That's how Courtney Hartwell came to be. People
Right.
voted on the first name. They gave me suggestions and voted on other names and wrote in other names. Hartwell was somebody else's idea. you know? So like, I don't know. I just find it fun. And I love asking them those kind of things. And I think having multiple questions or the option for them to come back to you. Also, I start talking about other people's books, what I'm reading, what's making me excited, you know? Yeah, I do think there's opportunity to have just a monthly newsletter until you get picked up to have twice a month or more or whatever it needs to be. But I also like laying the expectations. Like they're not going to hear from me more than twice a month unless you're on one of my teams
Yeah,
and we're
exactly.
launching something.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I'm just not going to
Mhm.
inundate their mailboxes for
Yeah.
things that are
No.
super fluffy, but I think
Yeah.
readers are curious and
Mhm.
they like to be, especially your super fans, they like to be a part of those discussions.
Totally. Yeah, once I get a little down the road where I am really cranking with it, then I'm going to start opening back up because a newsletter is the thing you can control and you get the metrics instantly. You can see who opened it, who didn't, see some things that maybe bounce back. You get a lot more of a picture of who's out there than I think you do on social media. I think you'd have fun with your newsletter. And when I really get back into my marketing swing, I'm going there first for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. It definitely gives me more energy and I
Yeah.
feel like I have better results. And
Mhm.
like I said, I think I
Totally.
started out with 12 and I'm at 2,500. So
Mhm.
I feel pretty good about it, and
That's
I'm
great.
still wanting to grow. I would love to double that. That would be
Yeah.
amazing, right? I think my ARC team, I think I started out with 0, to be quite frank. And then
Mhm.
I've built it up and now I'm like at 75. I love that
That's
for
great.
me. So
Perfect.
that's not hundreds and hundreds, but they mean the world to me and I try to make it worthwhile for every one of them, the inside scoop of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think you have to think of consistency over volume. And again, it's the percentage, really. It's not really the total number. So if I had
Yeah,
100 people interacting with me all the time, I would take it every day and twice on Sunday
absolutely. Yeah.
versus 5,000 and 10 people interacting with me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the other thing that I wanted to ask is I love thinking about because I am a super fan of some authors. Like I'm an automatic
Mhm.
buyer for a very select few. But what has made you personally become a super fan of an author? And if you break that down, what is it that they've done that's made you a super fan?
Honestly, I think the only one that's an automatic buy for me is Emily Henry every time. Every time she has
Yeah.
something new, I'm buying it. Doesn't matter. But it's interesting. Well, I guess I haven't really signed up for her newsletter. Does she have a newsletter? I'm just doing some investigation right on air. But I think it's just because she puts out quality products that it kind of developed this trust with her that I know what I'm getting. I'm excited every time, and I feel like she's not cranking out books to crank out books. I feel like I relate to her a little bit more. I'm not saying she's a slow writer. I don't know what kind of writer she is, but she it's like a book a year almost instead of
Mhm.
I feel
Yeah.
like some authors I lost steam over just because I couldn't keep up, and I felt like I couldn't even, like, catch up to, like, "Wait, which one was this?" or "Where am I?" And I don't know, I feel like I've learned a lot from her as an author, and I just love her stories. So, that makes me a super fan. I think it's a trust. I know what I'm getting every
Mm,
time.
true.
She's consistent, she's her. Same with Rebecca Yarros. I'm not like, there's super fans of
Yeah,
Rebecca Yarros,
for
right?
sure.
I didn't even have the courage to go say hi to her when we were both on jury duty. So I don't qualify as a super fan. Also, I didn't think it was the
Well, that's just
appropriate
stardom.
environment, but
Yeah.
I do love her romances. And it's the same trust factor that she's not going to just suddenly deviate in her romance genre. Now, she writes in different genres, but she sets it up in such a way that she's almost created an instant community around what she's writing. So, what about you? How do you become a super fan?
So I have been a diehard fan of J.R. Ward's for well over a
Yes.
decade or more.
Mhm.
And I've followed her in other series, but the Black Dagger Brotherhood has been a mainstay. She's gone through different iterations of newsletters. It's so
Mhm.
funny. Like she had like the Caldwell Journal, and it was so fun because it would be from other characters' point of views and them bickering about the news they're giving. It was just so entertaining. And you might get like 3 a year. And it was just
Right.
the funnest thing to open. And then, her stardom really blew up, more and more. So then you're just like, I think she's also it's not just the gravitation of her stories. Her as a person is awesome. I mean, she's the epitome. I know we talked about nicknames in our last episode. She is sassy, and I
Mhm.
love her frankness. I love her F-bombs. I just love her directness about life and being an author and just how she takes her job. And so I gravitated to her for her stories. I stuck with her because of who she is. And then as her stardom blows up, you want to be there for all the things. You want to be there for the next format, which is on screen and all the things. So I don't know. I think there's kind of this. We talked about the level of being an audience member versus community. And I don't know that she necessarily fostered me in a community, but I just became somebody who became less than transactional for all her automatic buys on her books to wanting to be a part of it. That's the kind of the outskirts of the community I'm in. I just want to be a part of it and be there when it happens. And I love that when books like get made into things because I just want to be there when it happens kind of thing. I am like the ultimate cheerleader. But for those things, and I love when there's like shared experiences or behind the scenes stuff of
Yeah.
characters or Easter eggs and things like that. And I have a friend who I got her reading it, and I'm speed reading the books to remember things. and we're talking about it, and I'm just like a giddy schoolgirl, back in like a readers group who just read it for the first time. But it's so fun. It's like, I don't know. And it's just made me a super fan. So, and I've been an automatic buyer for so many authors. And then I'll get to a point where I'm like, it's so formulaic to me. I know what the story's going to be. So I kind of like back off a little bit and I go somewhere else and then maybe I'll return. But yeah, for J.R. Ward, I know exactly what these stories are going to be. She'll always have a twist that surprises me because she's really good at that. And yeah, I just love it when Stephen King said something like the best writing advice is if you're going to write something, be reading too. You need to be a reader to
Exactly.
be a
Yeah.
writer.
Hmm.
I totally feel that way. Like if you're
Hmm.
somebody who's like, I've always wanted to write a book and you don't read or read the type of material for which you
Yeah.
say you're going to write a book, I think you're at a disadvantage immediately. Not to say you can't, but I just don't think that's an advantage to you because it's hard
Right.
to relate. But yeah,
Exactly.
I think super fans come in various ways. I think that's the difference between an audience and a community, really. How do you make super fans in your business?
And I think you just have to start. You have to put yourself out there and understand it's still a long game.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen
And don't
overnight.
and don't take it personally too, because like some people may love my stories and not like me at all. And that's okay. Like, because I think sometimes we tie the two together, like bad reviews versus who you are as a
Hmm.
person. It was really interesting. I am one of those people, I like looking at the reviews, especially early on. And
Right.
one of my ARC readers, I do ask them not to tag me in bad reviews. Like, have your opinion, but please don't tag me because I don't need to be like pointed in that direction. But I think it was a 3 or a 4 star, and they were like, not my favorite, but I love her stories. And I was just like, okay, not your favorite, but that's okay. You still
Well,
read
what
it
does
and
that
you
mean?
still liked it. Yeah. But I don't know. I just go, it's not
Hmm.
for I'm really curious how book 2 is gonna go because it's, like, one of my favorites. I mean, I loved the first one because it's funny, and I got to be me and all the things that are chaotic about these characters, but, like, the second one's a little more serious for sure, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. You never know. You just have to put it out there and then, hey,
Yeah,
yeah, keep writing,
yeah,
keep doing. That's all you can do.
that's right. Just keep going, keep going. So, what would be your top 2 takeaways?
Put your time and energy to what gives you, like you were saying, the most energy, the most joy. Understand that social media is set up not for you, it's for them. It's
Mhm.
not designed for our mental health.
Yeah,
There's very specific guardrails and controls in place that they are controlled by their creators. You don't have control. And so if you start to feel depleted because you're not getting likes or interactions, I would say that's not where your joy is. Okay. Then just understand it's a long game. It takes time and consistency.
yeah, I think the strongest author careers I've seen are rarely built alone.
Mhm.
They have teams around them, assistants,
Mhm.
experts, things of that nature, other authors around them, and their community. And I think community creates support and opportunities, accountability, and readers who stay with you for the long haul. I think those are the big key messages. And to me, the way to do that is really through your newsletter because if they're interested in you, they'll sign up to learn more. And I think having automations and making it feel like this welcome thing versus a sales newsletter. I've been getting a lot more of those from other authors and it's really turning me off lately. I like the ones that are more curated and more like, "Hey, guess what? I want to let you know what I'm doing. Oh, and then I'm selling this or my friend's doing this." Like don't constantly bombard me with trying to buy things, but I think if you can give those opportunities, it's really important, and I think
Yeah,
you see the benefits of those things pretty quickly.
totally.
So with that, what kind of personal updates do you have? Like anything going on, viral moments, what you're watching, what you're reading, what you doing?
Actually, we're rewatching 90s buddy comedies
Yeah.
like Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson. I
It's a good
just
one.
It's just fun, okay? And what I've noticed, and I've had other people discuss this, but movies today are so dark. I'm saying the film gradient, like it's dark and there's no color anymore and things aren't very bright. And it's like sometimes I've seen those people making fun of movies where they are like squinting in the dark and they have to have all the lights down and they're still like, where are the people on the screen? That's how I feel like the movie experiences are these days. So we are rewatching some of just those like late 90s, early 2000s, just like fun movies. And then Threads has just been, it's just been interesting how authors have been like tanking their own releases by getting in arguments with people online. I'm just saying, don't do
Entertaining, but
this.
why do you do that?
I think it's because they think that that's how they go viral. But I'm telling you, the backlash you're going to receive is not worth any viral moment you have by getting into a dispute online. So, anyway, that's my caution for the day. Careful.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
What about
Yeah.
you?
Okay. I'm going to talk about off campus.
Oh, yes.
I'm
Well,
in my second round of watching it
I've gotta watch
as we
it.
speak, and I'm in love with it. So, L. Kennedy wrote these books, if you're unaware,
Mhm.
and they're doing the series. The first one, the book is called The Deal, but the series is off campus. So,
Right,
I
right,
had read a book, but it was like book 4 in the series. I'm so bad. But anyway, so now I'm not at the point where I actually wanna read the books. I'm just eager for the series because
right,
I've seen people talk about the differences. And what I love about this series so much, this first season, is that they did not make any shunned females villains or
nice.
bitches. They didn't do the stereotypical males where they're putting down females at all, and they're actually having bro talks that are sensitive. And I
Wow.
was just like, "This is amazing." And there's some heavy topics, and I think the first 2 episodes are a little light and fluffy, setting the groundwork, but then you get on into it. I mean, to me, it feels very YA, but once you get into it, like, you're just proud. Like the girl breaks down, there's a moment, third act breakup, sorry, you're not gonna escape it. And she's just distraught. And the first person she calls is her mom. And it's such a beautiful just discussion. Her mom is perfect. I mean, she's just like,
Sure.
calm down, Hannah. Like, it's so great how she talks to her and goes, why do you think that? What did you do? And it was just like the perfect, and I just loved how they showed that. It becomes more adult as you go along for sure, but a lot of the dark subject matter that's there is addressed in this relationship. And I love that he falls first and he falls hard. And like he was such the guy that's like, I'm into hockey. I don't have time for a relationship. It's not what I want. That's not what I'm going to do. But you can tell, like, and the actor they chose was just perfect for it because you can see that range and you can totally see it. But I love it. And it was interesting because seeing the book version that people are quoting, it doesn't quite work like that. So they updated it. And I think the book was
Mm,
launched in 2014 or 15.
yeah, it's older.
So they made it more up to date, more current, more consent driven, more communicative. Yeah, it was really good. And it's exciting that it's done so well. They've already pre approved the second season and they're supposed to be already recording it, already starting it. So,
Put it
and I
on
think
your list, folks.
yeah,
Gotta watch it.
definitely worth the watch, I think, especially if you like romance and rom-comminess. Like, I miss that. A lot of people are, like, loving the comparisons to a lot of 80 movies. There's particular scene, they were like, "Oh my god, it's 16 candles. Oh my god, it's
Okay, I hear
this.
what
Oh
you're
my god,
saying, and
it's
you're
this."
saying that after I watch it, we have a special after dark episode where that's all we break down. Is
We
that what
should.
you're trying to
We
tell
should. I
me?
should just
Because I
scrap a
feel
whole
like
thing and we just talk about it
I
'cause
think it's just
it's a
like,
lot of fun.
yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
okay,
I think you're gonna
watch it.
like it. It's it's fun
Okay,
for
I
sure.
got it. It's on the list. It is on the list, so I'm gonna get to it.
All right. Let's do our question.
Last thing, what is the product that you love that you think everyone should have? I might know the
Products?
answer. You tried to sell me something when I first met you.
I did?
Yes, you were
My
in love with
iPad?
this product. No,
Look at me, my iPad?
it was your travel fan.
Yes. Now that you say it, yes, people. If you need a fan, yes, it's the
Yes, it
best
looked really
purchase ever.
handy.
It is
Is there
very
another
handy.
product that you
Is there a
just
product
love
that
that you can't live without?
I mean, there's so many different products that I love. I don't know. It's like I think if it were for writers specifically, I think one of the products I love that I can't live without is Dropbox. And it sounds really lame, but I just use it for everything and it allows me to be everywhere. So any cloud service I think is fine. But because I do things on my phone and then I'll switch to this or switch to that, it just allows you to be mobile. And I just love that. Yeah. And I think, yeah, I kind of love my phone too. Like, I hate it and I love it all in the same way, and I definitely do not disturb hours and things like that because I just need to take breaks, but I don't know that there's, like, a quote product that I just can't live without, though. What about you?
Well, do we have an extra hour? Because
Right.
I have so many things. Okay, the first one is the Scrub Daddy. You know that makes the Scrub Mommy, Scrub Daddy sponges. They make the damp duster. Have you ever tried one of those?
No.
It's a sponge with grooves. You just wet it and dust, wet it and dust. It just gets everything in the little grooves and you rinse it out. Amazing cleaning tool. Okay.
Wow. And because it's wet, it attracts and then it goes
It
down your
just, you're not
drain
spreading it
versus,
all
like,
over.
ones that you like the dust
The
buster,
Swiffer.
and then you see it flickering like the
Yeah.
dust particles.
This is like a
Yeah.
little sponge. Also, if you all are into meal services, I have a referral code because I sold so many of these. Tovala meal service. It's the Tovala, Tovala, and the food comes prepped. All you have to
Nice.
do is scan your QR code and put your meal in. It comes out perfectly, perfectly. Filet mignon, perfect. Salmon, perfect.
Wow. So
Yeah,
do you have
you
to buy
put
a
your
machine in order to put it in for cooking?
yeah, but it acts like one of those Cuisinarts. It's your toaster, it's your air fryer. You can use
Mm.
it. It's like everything I actually use it more than my other oven. Now, this is for empty nesters who it's just the two of us. Although they have family meals now, but it wouldn't work when I still had teenagers in the house. But there's days like we're working, I don't feel like cooking or going to the grocery store. I pick 6 meals a week. It's not expensive. By the time you picked all this ingredients, you'd be spending more, but you can get they had like a shawarma dish, surf and turf dish. They have all these things. It just arrives. You peel the thing off, scan the QR code, put it in, and it's amazing. And then there's no cleanup. And it's different than other meal services because everything is still fresh, but you don't have to still chop and wash and do all those other things.
Right.
It's all done for you. The Tavala food service. I
Nice.
can't live without it. I've never had a bad meal. Never. So, anyway,
Might
that's
have
my
to try
pitch.
that. All right. Well, thank you for the discussion. This was fun. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us today. Don't forget to leave us a review and rating wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps with visibility. And if you'd like a little extra romance talk, join us for the Author Next Door After Dark. This month, we're discussing power dynamics in romance, why chemistry isn't random, Why does one couple feel electric while another falls flat? What creates tension, attraction, and emotional pull between two characters? We'll be unpacking the power shifts that exist in every romance and why they're often the secret ingredient behind unforgettable chemistry. Till next time, keep writing, keep doing. Bye.
We'll see ya.
We're so glad you joined us for this episode of The Author Next Door.
Writing is a long game, and it's one best played with community, curiosity, and a little grace for yourself along the way.
Keep showing up, keep learning, and keep telling stories only you can tell.
We'll see you next week, right here next door.